Every once in a while, a photograph is taken that is not only disturbing, but also incredibly unexplained. And there are many out there that most of us are familiar with, so hopefully there are a few in this list that aren't as common, but are equally mysterious. The Grand Canyon Mystery Man. The exact date of when this image was shot is unknown, but the person who posted it on the internet said that it's sometime between the 1970s and 80s. He said that his uncle took a trip to the Grand Canyon with some friends, and like many, they decided to take a picture on the edge of the canyon. When they took the camera roll to be developed, they noticed a very eerie person in the background staring at the camera. The man and his friends were in that spot for around 15 minutes and did not notice anyone in the area, as the Grand Canyon was pretty quiet at that time of the year. The person who posted the photo said that to this day, his uncle swears that he or the photographer did not notice anyone nearby whilst taking the photo, and have no clue who the man is and why he is hiding in the bushes. He sure looks creepy though, and people have pointed out how pale he looks and the fact he has his hood up, and it might just be a camera illusion, but he also looks a lot taller than the other man. The biggest mystery of all though, apart from the fact who is he, is why was he there in the first place? As you can imagine, there are many theories and all are equally terrifying. Some believe the man was there to commit suicide, but noticed people were coming over so hid in the bushes. Some say it's the Grim Reaper, and others say he could have been waiting to push the man off the canyon, thinking he was alone, but noticed the cameraman and his friends and decided not to. There is no way of knowing if the photograph is real or fake, but it has been put through analysis and was confirmed that it hasn't been manipulated, meaning if it is a fake, then the person would have actually been there and not edited in after. So what do you think? The disappearance of Tara Calico. Okay, so I know this picture is quite frequently used, but due to the disturbing and mysterious story behind it, I cannot leave it out. It all started when 19-year-old Tara Calico set out for a bike ride on the morning of September the 20th, 1988, on her mother's pink mountain bike. Oddly enough, she told her mother that if she did not return by noon to come looking for her. Tara didn't return and her mother started searching, tracing the route she knew her daughter had taken. She did not find her daughter or the bike, but found a Walkman cassette player similar to the one her daughter had been listening to, and later searchers found a cracked Walkman cover also believed to belong to Tara. Her mother became convinced her daughter had been kidnapped, but since Tara was legally an adult, she had the right to disappear if she wanted to, so apparently little could be done without evidence of a crime, and despite efforts by her family, the trial went cold. Tara had disappeared into thin air and no one could help her family solve the case. Then, on June 15, 1989, a woman in Port St. Joe, Florida, pulled off Route 98 to pick up groceries from a food store. She parked next to a white van, and when she came out of the shop, she found this harrowing Polaroid-looking photograph beside her car. It shows a girl and a young boy in what appears to be the back of a van, and the thought of them possibly being in the van that was parked next to the lady who found this photo is truly horrendous. The woman immediately alerted the police, but Tara's mother did not become aware of the photo for a further 2 months. When she seen the photograph, she was sure it was her daughter. Although thinner and with no makeup, a distinctive scar on her leg convinced her it was Tara. Initially, the boy in the photograph was thought to be missing 9-year-old Michael Henley, but in 1990, Michael's remains were found not far from where he had disappeared 2 years earlier. His death was ruled as a tragic accident, and it was confirmed he was not the boy in the photograph. Tara's mother searched tirelessly for her daughter up until the day she died in 2006, with the belief the girl in the Polaroid was her daughter and that she was still alive. What gets me, like I said, is the thought of them possibly being in the white van that was parked next to the lady who found the photo in that car park. We may never know what happened to the two people in the photograph, but we can only hope that no harm came to them. It's certainly a disturbing picture to look at, and to date, who kidnapped them, what happened to them, and the identity of the boy is sadly still unexplained. Edna Cintron. This next picture is very disturbing and illustrates the helplessness of the victims of 9/11. Even though this woman appears to have survived the initial impact, her chances of survival were very low, and I know I have already shown a photo from 9/11 in a previous video, but when I seen this one, I knew I had to include it. Although more disturbing than unexplained, how the woman and also the man survived the initial impact of the plane is truly remarkable. We know that the woman is believed to be a lady called Edna Cintron, a 46-year-old employee of insurance brokers Marsh & McLennan, but this has never been officially confirmed. The photograph shows the area where the plane struck the North Tower of the World Trade Center, and a gaping hole of mangled steel and molten metal can be seen, with the woman very visible and clinging to a severed pillar, waving desperately. It's incredible that so near to the point of impact anybody was able to survive at all in that area. It was reported at the time that telephone calls from victims confirmed that not all offices on the floors that were hit were destroyed immediately though, and several of the trapped fled to cooler areas, and the areas where the planes hit would have been the coolest of all as the impact points were sucking in fresh air. Maybe this lady thought there was a chance that she could be rescued if she got to a cooler area and could be seen. With all the helicopters flying around, maybe she thought she could have been winched to safety, and it's believed that she was there for a considerable amount of time, not knowing that the towers would eventually collapse. Like I said in my previous 9/11 photo, it was truly a horrific event that should never have happened, and my heart goes out to all of those innocent people who were taken too soon that day. And I know many talk of conspiracies and such, but when they do, they seem to forget they are talking about an event that killed thousands and left even more families and friends without loved ones, so just consider this when giving your opinions. This next photo was taken near Zagreb in Croatia. The location is popular with hikers, and on the day the photo was taken, the photographer was with several friends who were all taking photos and messing around. But when looking through their pictures, they noticed an eerie figure in the distance. None of them recall seeing a person around whilst taking the photo, and although it's a popular place, on this particular day there were very few people around. And even though boar, deer and foxes roam the woods, this figure does not resemble any of them. None of them can really explain the strange figure, and it does not appear on any other photos. The only explanation they could come up with is that it was someone who was on a group hike who walked off from the group to pee in the woods with his back facing the camera. But they still can't understand why they didn't see the person, and pointed out that surely they would have at least heard the man if this was the case. Some people have said that the photo looks familiar to the mythical Slender Man, who, as most of us know, is a terrifying, thin, very tall, faceless man who tries to abduct people. The photo has been put through analysis and it's not believed to have been tampered with, and none of the group seen or heard anything unusual on that day that they could link with the mysterious photo. The Cabin Stalker. This next photo is a lesser known one, but it's truly terrifying and caused a lot of debate when it was posted on Reddit. It was taken by a man who was staying in a hunting cabin with some family in Michigan that was owned by a family member called Jill. On the day it was taken, most of the family had gone for a walk and only 2 of them were left in the cabin. After a while, one of them decided to take a panoramic photo on his phone of the cabin so he could show his girlfriend where he was staying. But when he looked back at the photo, he was shocked to see a figure lurking outside the window with what looks like a knife or weapon of some sort in its hand. When the rest of the family returned to the cabin some 3 hours later and looked at the photo, they seemed unconcerned, and even joked that it could have been the dead husband of the lady who owned the house. After taking a look outside, they discovered footprints leading from the woods behind the cabin to the exact spot where the figure was standing. And if that's not creepy enough, the next day when they showed the photo to the lady who owned the house, she was convinced the man looked like her husband who had passed away a few years before. When he was alive, he would go out rabbit hunting in winter months and would return to the cabin carrying his catch and his rifle, holding them in a similar way to the figure in the photo. After they studied photos of her dead husband and compared them to the photo taken, there was a definite resemblance in his posture and the bulky hunting gear he used to wear. The person who took the photo does not believe in ghosts, but has no clue what the figure is, and since the family members who went for a walk did not return for a few hours after the photo was taken, he is confident it wasn't one of them. The photo has been put through a filter and does not show signs that it has been edited. So what do you think? Is it the ghost of the owner's husband? Some have even put forward that it could be the infamous mythical Michigan dogman, and others say that people rob cabins like this, so it could have been a robber who backed off when he noticed the cabin was occupied. One thing's for sure though, it's pretty terrifying and leaves us with no definitive answers. So that's 5 very unexplained and disturbing photographs. I hope you've enjoyed, and don't forget to send in any mysterious and unexplained photographs you may have. Thanks for watching, and see you next week for another video.